3 nights later, they had to sleep side by side in a culvert. Sexy. Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of The Azriel Uprising by Alan Thompson. This is from Bantam. It's 1982, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic. This book is rough, okay? This isn't going to be a very long review because, in all fairness, I DNF'd this book around 3/4 of the way through. I tried. I was even sitting at my kids' gymnastics at the back so I couldn't see anything. So I was like, well, I'm going to read this book. So boring. What is it about? A decade after the Russians invaded, it was time for America to fight back. Devastated by a surprise attack that left its cities in radioactive ruins, America suffered under the iron heel of the Russian occupying forces. Millions of the young and able were mercilessly slaughtered, and millions more were imprisoned in forced labor camps. The survivors, women and children, the old and infirm, fled to the hills to lick their wounds and keep the struggle alive. But now, 10 years later, the days of hiding are over. From the hills of New England to the Florida Gulf Coast, the forces of resistance are regrouping into a ragtag militia, armed with whatever they can make, salvage or steal. Led by the legendary rebel general known only as Juanita, the people of America are rising again to take back their homeland. I mean, this sounds right up my alley, right? Post-apocalyptic, 80s, women characters. No. This thing is dental surgery to get through. It is painful. The problem is the plot. It is so dull. It consists of Juanita walking from rebel base to rebel base, passing on some information, then walking some more. I don't know if there's a big fight at the end because I was honestly not even interested in finding out. I was just way too bored. While the setting is kind of cool, we have a USA that's been bombed by the Russians, the USSR in this case, and there are holdouts of American military and rebels hiding in supposed sea zones, which were contaminated by nuclear fallout. Yes, these were nuclear bombs that were dropped on them. And they're planning to take the country back, these rebels. It's been 10 years, though, but we don't get any insight into what the economy is like, how many people are left, and what the cities are like. If the USSR bombed the US, what would be the point of landing troops there and trying to take it over after? It's a massive country. The amount of resources you require just to deal with that seems like it wouldn't be worth it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just very, very basic of a setting that I was unclear the entire time what the goals were of the USSR and what the goals were even of the rebels. It was not very clear. I could have overlooked this if the characters were fun, but Juanita or Barbara or whatever her name is so flat and uninteresting that by accident the main character shifts to the point of view of this man, Beau, instead of her, because there's literally nothing to say about Juanita. I definitely liked the amount of women in military roles. That was really fun. But Juanita is just so dull. She's so dead inside from grief that what could have been badassery came off as an unemotional kind of just slog. Were this a novel about dealing with trauma, this might have worked, but instead we get passing information on her past, and that's it. Beau, her bed sharer, has more of a personality than she does. The writing was also very stilted and lacking in any sort of interesting prose, whether lyrical, descriptions, or any kind of humor. It's just very dull. I will say, though, this line is one of the best of the novel, and it comes in the first page. There was a border skirmish with the Canadians last week, Sault Ste. Marie, and Canadians chased them off, but the Toronto government made their Moscow ambassador apologize and court-martialed the CO. Sorry, I'm Canadian, and so anytime Canada is mentioned in a book, I'm just yeah, especially when I was okay, cool. Still, though, despite that, not recommending this book in the slightest. It's so incredibly boring. I'm going to do my classic sci-fi bingo. There's not a lot to talk about, but here we go anyway. As usual, there are spoilers. There are some funny things I'm talking about, though, so it's not a complete waste of time. So, outdated science. I'm not sure if this is just bad science or outdated science, but the author has no idea how nuclear fallout works. So I'm actually going to consider this to be more bad science, so I'm not going to give it a check mark. But yeah, I was just no. Spaceship blows up? Nope. Social changes? Nope. Sexy female scientist? Nope. Cool aliens? There's no aliens. There's no alien-human romance. There's no generation ship. There's no space soldiers. There's no AI. There's no new worlds. There's no cyberpunk. Sexism, though. This book, it's complicated. This novel goes out of its way to show that women can do stuff men can do, that it actually comes across as sexist. For example, you go, I'll tell them. Juanita vaulted over the porch railing one-handed like a man. Okay, I don't know. I've never considered that to be a manly thing to do, jumping over a fence. But whatever. Likewise, the novel has this running joke of, or theme perhaps, because it's not funny, of people not realizing Barbara is the brigadier general because she's blonde, pretty petite, and a woman. It happens every time they meet someone new, and it just got old really fast. It was more just like frustrating than anything, and it just seemed almost like it was like kind of like, haha, this is hilarious, when it was not. It was just like, okay, can you just quit this? Because it's overused. It's quite overused. Let's see here. Foreigner technology? No. LGBTQ plus representation? Definitely not. Though we do get a homophobic statement from Bo, so there's that. I'm not going to read it, but I was just like, oh wow. There's also a really funny cis headline. 3 nights later, they had to sleep side by side in a culvert. Sexy. Nature took its course as male touched female in slumber. They became lovers. Better watch out for those culverts, ladies, because once you're in there, you can't help yourself. Even if you're into women, you will just automatically, because nature will take its course, you will just bang that dude. Avoid those culverts. There's also a part that made me laugh so hard. A man gets shocked by a gender neutral bathroom. I was dying. I was literally dying at that. Let's see. Let's read it. He would have been embarrassed to have the woman who entered the bathroom see him cry, except that she took no notice, and he realized with a jolt that the bathroom was for both sexes. The toilets and showers were in stalls, but that was it. Wow! It even says that. It says wow. Oh, the 80s. Are there portals or black holes? No. Is there the microfiche? No. The ALMC is kind of a dick? Okay, so Bo isn't really a dick, but he does make that one homophobic comment. But other than that, he's not a dick, so I'm going to say no. Racial equality, actually, this gets a check mark. It's well-intentioned if sometimes a bit dated, but we have people of all backgrounds in the US working as one to oust the USSR. I didn't notice any egregious stereotypes, at least in the first half of the book that I read, so that was good. So yeah, I guess there's racial equality in this. Plasma or other future weapons? No. Post-apocalyptic? Yeah, durr. Bounty hunters or assassins? No. Galactic War? No. Tech similar to today? No, unless you count like AK-47s. And passes the Bechdel test? Actually, yes. It passes the Bechdel test by page 11, so good for you, book. Too bad you're so boring. My quick pick bonus, reptile aliens? No. Female main character? Yes, Juanita, I guess, is technically the main character, even though Bo tends to have more focus because he's more interesting of a person. But anyway, yes, I do say that this is that. Convergent evolution, no, there's nothing to do with that in this book. So yeah, not recommended. I mean, one of the coolest covers. This is a great cover, but definitely not worth reading, unfortunately. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I apologize if you absolutely love this novel, or if you are Alan Thompson, though I don't think she wrote anything. I don't think she's written anything else. All it says about her is that Alan Thompson lives in New York City. This is her first novel. I don't know if she wrote anything